If you're in the market to buy a home right now here in Northeast Ohio, or pretty much anywhere for that matter, it really sucks and I'm sorry. I'm going through it right here with you, so I understand how frustrating it is to drop everything and go look at a house the day it comes on the market, put in a really solid offer, only to find out you're one of 10, 20, or even 30 other offers that came in. So I'm here today to talk about some strategies that can help make sure yours is the offer chosen. Hi, I'm George Poporad with eXp Realty, and today we are talking about multiple offer strategies. Now, sellers are always going to look for their best bottom line, but is the best offer always the highest? Not all the time. Different sellers have different priorities, so one of the most important things is for your realtor to talk to their realtor and find out what those priorities might be. So let's take a look at some strategies that might help increase your odds of being selected. Unless you're paying cash, you always need a lender pre-approval. And if you can, try and get an underwritten pre-approval. This simply means that your lender has not only run a credit check, but has also verified your income, your assets, and your debts. Underwritten pre-approvals remove most of the obstacles before final approval is granted, so they carry more weight and they might be more attractive to sellers in a super competitive market. A piece of paper showing that you are pre-approved is great, but an actual, real-life, honest-to-goodness conversation with the lender will show that listing agent that you are a rock-solid buyer and the mortgage process shouldn't have any hiccups that might derail the transaction. Again, in a super competitive market, sellers want to know that the offer that they choose is actually going to go through, so having your lender call their agent can really go a long way. This is a pretty basic strategy, but it can be effective. Earnest money is a good faith deposit that you make upon contract signing. This deposit helps make sure that you won't walk away from the transaction without a really valid reason, such as an inspection contingency or a financing contingency. Increasing that deposit can show that you are seriously committed to purchasing the home. I can count on one hand the number of offers that I've written in the last few years that did not include an escalation clause. This useful tool basically says that you as a buyer will pay X amount over the next highest offer up to a certain amount. Some escalations are even open-ended. This can really help you out, but it can also lead to issues with the house appraising, which leads to tip number 5. This clause states that if the home were to appraise lower than the agreed upon purchase price, the buyer would bring money above appraised value up to a certain amount or make up the entire difference between the appraised value and the purchase price. Usually when an appraisal comes in low, buyers try to renegotiate the purchase price, but sellers don't want to do that. So the Appraisal Gap Guarantee shows the sellers that you understand the current market that we're in and that you are willing and able to cover a portion of or all of the appraisal gap. Now this one I will rarely recommend unless the buyer is a contractor or a seasoned house flipper. Home inspections can save you from major headaches and major spending down the line. But if you understand the risks and know that if the house caves in the day after you get the keys, you are the one responsible, and you are still willing to take on those risks, this can give you an incredible advantage over the competition because it means one less potential barrier that will prevent the sale from going through. If you do wish to keep the inspection contingency, you can ask for verbiage that states you will not ask for any repairs after the inspection is completed. So this simply means you would still have the inspection, but it's basically an as-is deal or you walk away. There's no in between. So in the last few years, I have seen purchase agreements that have the buyers offering to pay for the seller's moving company. I have seen buyers offering a year's supply of tacos or pizza or Netflix subscriptions. I've seen offers where the buyers will throw a farewell party for the sellers and their neighbors. It's kind of crazy, but getting creative might help you out here. Selling a home, even in this extreme seller's market, can be stressful. So unique and fun things like this added to the purchase contract can help add some levity to the process. And if you can make a seller smile, that's never a bad thing. When someone is selling a house, odds are pretty good that they need to find another house to buy. So if you are having a hard time finding a house to buy, odds are they will too. So make sure your agent talks to their agent to find out if they might need some extra time, or they might want to get it done as quickly as possible. And going back to tip number 1, if you have a fully underwritten pre-approval from your lender, they might be able to close the loan in a shorter amount of time. Either way, you need to be as flexible with the timing as you can. On that same note, say the seller wants a typical closing time frame, but they want to stay in the house a week or two or even a month after closing. If you allow them to live rent-free for a period of time, this could definitely be appealing to them. Now they would obviously still carry insurance and be responsible for the upkeep and the well-being of the house, but offering this, even if they don't take advantage, could really go a long way. In the past, a great letter could really put you over the edge, but now everyone is writing letters, so they tend to get lost. And some sellers don't even want to look at them. But if you're buying a home that the seller has lived in for 20 years, odds are pretty good that they have some emotional attachment to the home, and pulling on those strings might be to your advantage. Now, when writing a personal letter, you have to be careful about fair housing issues. Don't talk about your kids or your family or how the house is in walking distance to a park or restaurants. Anything like that might constitute a fair housing violation if the seller were to pick your offer. Instead, keep Keep it simple and try and focus on certain features of the house. Are there any specific architectural details about the house that you know the seller might have put some effort into? People take pride in their homes, so if you can show your appreciation for the seller's hard work, it might give you an edge. If you want to include some personal details, be careful, but as you're touring the house, keep an eye out for any commonalities between you and the sellers. Did you go to the same college? Are you in the same occupation? Do you share a love of gardening or art? Do you both like classic cars? Are you both into woodworking? If you can find a common ground, it might help to include those details in the letter. Or it might be completely irrelevant and the seller might just toss it aside. Multiple offer situations are a buyer's worst nightmare, but if you're well prepared and you understand the current market that we're in, all you can do is shoot your best shot and hope that it lands. If you have found this or any other videos of mine helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel.